Hello students, from our today's lecture we are going to start our new chapter in design of heat exchanger, which is compact heat exchanger. In our previous lectures we have completed our chapter number 1 of the syllabus, which is basics of design of heat exchanger, which we have some topics which we have already studied in semester 5 in a heat transfer subject. In chapter number 1 we have learned about different method like LMTD method, NTU method, number of transfer of unit method, classification of heat exchanger, then fouling, what is fouling in heat exchanger, effect of fouling on heat transfer rate and the performance and the effectiveness, different techniques to control or minimize the fouling. So these are the some topics which we have learned in chapter number 1. Now in our further syllabus we are going to study our different design steps for designing different type of heat exchanger. First we will study design of compact heat exchanger. Our next chapter would be design of double pipe heat exchanger. Then we will study design of shell and tube heat exchanger, and at last, in our last chapter, we will study the different techniques for the performance evolution of the different heat exchanger. So from our today's lecture we are going to start a new topic, which is design of compact heat exchanger. Now our first question is, what is compact heat exchanger? In our previous semester in a heat transfer subject, we have classified heat exchanger in different way. In that classification we have learned this word compact heat exchanger. So what are the compact heat exchanger? So the heat exchanger whose surface area density is greater than 700 meter square per meter cube, whose surface area is greater than the per unit volume, is generally known as the compact heat exchanger. The heat exchanger whose surface area density is even above the 10,000 meter square per meter cube, which is known as the micro heat exchanger. So this is the difference between compact heat exchanger and the micro heat exchanger. Compact heat exchanger is a type of heat exchanger whose surface area density is greater than 700 meter square per meter cube, and the heat exchanger whose surface area density is even greater than 10,000 meter square per meter cube, then it will be known as the micro heat exchanger. Now we know that the compact heat exchanger have higher surface area as compared to the per unit volume. Now the question is how this surface area is increased. So we have learned the use of fins, or we can say that extended surfaces are used to increase the heat transfer rate, convective heat transfer rate whenever required. So in compact heat exchanger there is a use of fin to increase the surface area per unit volume. Compact heat exchanger are widely used. Where it is used? So it is widely used in industry, especially as where gas to gas or liquid to gas heat exchange is required, like vehicular heat exchangers, evaporators in air conditioning, evaporators in refrigerations, automotive radiators, oil coolers, air heaters, aircraft and space applications. So these are the area where compact heat exchangers are used. This is the figure from which you can understand what is the construction of compact heat exchanger. Here you can see that this is a plate type compact heat exchanger, in which these are the tubes from which cold fluid or hot fluid is flowing, and these tubes are covered by this plate, which provide extra surface area for the convective heat transfer. So this increased surface area provide higher convective heat transfer. This one is the tube type compact heat exchanger, in which this is the tube from which hot fluid or cold fluid is flowing, surrounding by the fin, which is a circular fin, which increase the surface area and indirectly increasing the convective heat transfer rate. So these are the examples of compact heat exchanger where surface area is higher as compared to the per unit volume. Now what is heat transfer enhancement? Why we want to enhance heat transfer rate? So our objective is to produce effective heat exchanger, more efficient heat exchanger with minimizing cost, for which we require reduction of the physical size of the heat exchanger. So depending upon the application, plain or enhanced heat transfer surface are required. Where you want to increase the heat transfer rate, then we have two choices. If we want to increase Q, then from the equation Q is equal to H delta T. So if we want to increase the value of Q, heat transfer rate, then we have two options. Either we have to increase the value of H, which is convective heat transfer coefficient. The value of H depends on so many parameters and so many conditions which are sometimes not in our hand. So the only options remain is to increase the value of capital A, which is surface area. So depending upon the applications, plain or enhanced or augmented surface area are used, or we can say that the fins are used. The main goal is to obtain heat transfer rate, high heat transfer rate under specific conditions. Okay. Now what happens when you attach extra surface or augmented surface area to the particular wall? So this is the comparison. First, heat transfer between wall and the fluid, we know that, which is given by HA delta T, where H is a convective heat transfer coefficient, A is the area from which heat transfer takes place, and delta T is a temperature difference between the wall and the fluid. So this is TW, temperature of wall, minus TF, which is temperature of the fluid. This is for the plane surface, where there is no fin is attached, or we can say that no augmented surface is attached. Now what happens if we attach extra surface? Then the equation would be Q is equal to same HA delta T, but this HA is related to augmented surface, extra surface which you have attached. Now the ratio of this, ratio of HA of augmented surface to the ratio to the HA of plane surface is known as the enhancement ratio. The ratio of HA of augmented surface to the HA of plane surface is known as the enhancement ratio, which is denoted by capital E is equal to HA upon HA of plane surface. Okay. Now there are several methods to increase the value of this HA. The first option is to increase the heat transfer coefficient, which is H, without an appreciable increase in the surface area. So the application where there is a limitation of increasing surface area, then we have one option to increase the enhancement ratio is to increase the value of this H, this convective heat transfer coefficient. The second way is to increase the value of capital A instead of H without appreciable changes in a heat transfer coefficient. And the third option is both the heat transfer coefficient and surface area can be increased. Both the value of H and A can be increased. So this is the three way by which you can increase the value of capital E, which is enhancement ratio. Now let's discuss what is the effect of a fin, or we can say that enhanced surface, on overall heat transfer coefficient and the heat transfer rate. So we know that for the plane wall, the equation of UA, or we can say that the total thermal resistance, which is 1 upon HIA. This is a convective heat transfer, convective resistance. Then the heat will flow from the wall, so that the conduction resistance, which is generally X by K or T by K, where T is the thickness of the wall, K is the conductivity of wall material, and A is the cross-sectional area of the wall. Again, when heat is going to released from the second side to the environment, then again it is between the solid and the fluid, so that the again convection, so that the outer convection resistance, which is 1 upon HO into A. This is the equation which we have used number of times in a heat transfer subject. So this is the overall thermal resistance for the plane wall, where first there is a convection between hot fluid to the first surface of the wall, then conduction between the first surface to the second surface of the wall, at last the convection between the second surface and the environmental fluid or cold fluid. So this is the three resistance: convection, conduction and convection. So overall thermal resistance, this is 1 upon RT, which is U into A. U is the overall heat transfer coefficient. Here there is a surface area, or we can say that the cross sectional area for the convection and conduction is the same. So for the wall, the value of overall heat transfer coefficient will be 1 upon HI plus T by K plus 1 upon HO. But for the circular tube unfinned, where there is no use of fin, the equation would be 1 upon HIAI, which is the convection resistance from the hot fluid to the inner surface of the tube, because there is a change in area according to the radius, or we can say that according to diameter in the case of tube. In the case of wall, the cross sectional area, or we can say that the surface area for the convection and conduction remains the same. So there is no requirement of AI and AO. But for the case of tube or pipe, as the radius changes, the inside area, outside area is going to be changed. So the first resistance is convection resistance, the heat transfer between the hot fluid to the inner surface of the wall of the pipe, so that the 1 upon HIA. Then the heat will flow from the thickness of the pipe, so that for the conduction resistance for the circular pipe, which is ln rho upon ri, outer radius to inner radius, divided by 2 pi kl, where k is the conductivity of the pipe material and l is the length of the pipe. Then after heat reaches to the outer surface of the pipe, it will flow to the cold fluid or the outer side fluid. Then again there is a convection resistance, which is 1 upon HOAO, area of the outer side of the pipe. So this is the total thermal resistance offered for the clean tabular heat exchanger. And here the overall heat transfer coefficient is based on the inner area or the outer area. So it would be based on UIAI or UOAO. Okay. So as we know, if now for the above two equations where we have assumed that there is a no fouling in a heat exchanger. Now if we consider the fouling, as we have discussed in chapter number 1, effect of fouling on the overall heat transfer coefficient. So now if we consider the surface is fouled with accumulation of deposit, there is additional thermal resistance in the path of heat flow, which is, we know that, which is 1 upon HSA. This is the HS, which is the coefficient for the fouling, and this is 1 upon HSA, which is known as the fouling factor, which is denoted by RS. So this is the additional thermal resistance, okay, due to the fouling. So we define the scale coefficient of heat transfer, which is HS, in terms of thermal resistance RS of this scale, where A is the original area of heat transfer which is available before the scaling, delta TS is the temperature drop across the scale, and RF or we can say that the RS, fouling factor, which is 1 upon HS, is the term as the fouling factor. This is the fouling factor 1 upon HS. So we now consider the heat transfer across the heat exchanger wall fouled by deposit formation on both sides, inside and outside. And what will be our equation for the total resistance would be based on either outer side or inner side, which is 1 upon HIAI, this is a convection resistance, plus RW, this is wall resistance. For plain wall it would be T by K, for a circular pipe it would be ln rho by ri upon 2 pi kl. So this is generally denoted by Rw for the both cases, wall and the circular tube. Now this is Rfi upon Ai plus Rfo upon Ao. This represents the additional thermal resistance which is generated due to the fouling, due to the scaling, due to the impurities. So this is the additional resistance for the inner fouling. This is the additional thermal resistance due to the outer side fouling, plus 1 upon AOHO, which is the again convective resistance. So this two term represent the additional thermal resistance which is generated due to the formation of the fouling. Now we know that the calculation of overall heat transfer coefficient depends upon whether it is based on the cold, or we can say that inside or outside, or cold side or hot side, because UO is not equal to UI if AO is not equal to AI. So for the wall, the RW would be T upon K, as we have just discussed, and for the tube wall it would be ln rho divided by ri 2 pi lk. Now suppose we have considered our wall with a fin. So this is from the figure you can see that this is the base wall whose temperature is T. This is the hot side, so the temperature is Th. This is the cold side, temperature is Tc. Now we have attached extra area or augmented surfaces, which is generally known as the fin, to this base wall. These are the fin. So the fin surface area, which is denoted by AF, and this is the portion when there is no fin is attached. So the unfinned area is denoted by AU. So the total area is AU plus AF. Okay. Temperature of this side of the wall is TW1. Temperature of this side of the wall is TW2. Sorry, this is the thickness of the wall, which is small t. Now, on the either side, heat transfer takes place from the fins as well as from the unfinned. We know that whenever the heat will flow from the higher temperature to the lower temperature. So when the heat is going to reach at this surface at TW2, it will flow to the environment by the convection from this area where there is a no fin, and when there is a fin, the first heat will flow through the conduction throughout this fin, as well as simultaneously heat will flow outside to the environment by the convection. So introducing fin efficiency, whenever there is a fin, we have to use the term fin efficiency. So now the total heat transfer, we have fundamental basic equation of the heat transfer rate, which is HA delta T. Now when you attach fin to the surface, then the equation will be, we have two part. First is where there is a fin is attached, and some portion where there is a no fin, where the area unfinned area, we can say that. So HA delta T, so there is a two portion of HA, one when there is where there is a no fin, so that the unfinned area. So for the unfinned area it would be AU-HU. Okay, the area where fin is attached, so for that particular area it would be HF-AF into efficiency of fin. This is the efficiency of fin, which we have to multiply with AF-HF, and this is the delta T, which is the temperature difference. Okay, now in this equation we know that if HU is equal to HF is equal to H, if we put HU is equal to HF is equal to H, as well as capital A is equal to AF plus AU, if we use both this equation and putting the value in this equation, after rearranging we will get Q is equal to HA in bracket 1 minus AF by A, 1 minus NF out of bracket delta T. So we have used to replace AU from the equation. Instead of AU we can write A minus AF. So putting A minus AF instead of AU and putting HU is equal to HF is equal to H, then we will get this equation. So Q is equal to NHA delta T when this overall efficiency is 1 minus AF upon A in bracket 1 minus NF. So these are the equations which we have created, and where this is known as the overall surface efficiency, and the delta T is the temperature difference between the fluid stream and the base temperature. This delta T is the temperature difference between the base temperature, so that the TW2, and the fluid stream, so that the TC. Now as we can see from this equation, now we know that our standard equation is Q is equal to HA delta T. So this 1 upon NHA is the additional resistance, additional thermal resistance, which is generated due to the introduction of the fin, or due to the extra surface which we have attached for the increasing in heat transfer rate, but it will create additional thermal resistance, which is 1 upon NHA. So overall resistance for the finned surface with the fouling, which is 1 upon NiHi-AI, this is a convective resistance, plus RFi upon NiAi, this is the resistance due to the fouling, plus Rw, the wall resistance or the tube resistance, plus RFO NOAO, this is again the outer side fouling resistance, plus 1 upon NOHO-AO, this is the again convective resistance. So this is the overall resistance. So from these two equations we can say that the performance of the heat exchanger will increase if the value of UA is increased, because as the value of UA is increased, the value of thermal resistance is going to decrease, so that the performance, or we can say that the heat transfer rate is going to be increased. So overall thermal resistance is reduced by increasing the value of this UA. So our goal is to increase the value of UA. So the heat transfer enhancement increase with the either or both of the H atoms. So either you have to increase the H or you have to increase the A, which decrease the convective resistance, because as you increase the value of H or A, it will decrease the value of conductive resistance. Now it can be seen from the equation that increasing UA term will be contribute to the following. If you increase the UA, we have equation Q is equal to UA delta T. So UA is equal to Q divided by delta T, or we can say that the U is equal to Q divided by delta T into L or into A. So from that equation you can say that the first point, if you increase the value of U, so if the heat duty is kept constant, if you constant the value of heat duty, so we have required Q divided by delta T. So for the same temperature conditions you have to decrease the area, because U is equal to Q divided by delta T into area. So for increasing the value of U, you have to decrease the value of area. So for the same temperature condition and for the value of same heat transfer rate, the length of the heat exchanger may be reduced. The second point is, remember the equation U is equal to Q divided by delta T into A. So for if the heat duty Q and the length of the L are kept constant, then the delta T may be reduced. to increase the value of U. And the third point, for the fixed heat duty Q, the pumping power can be reduced. However, this will dictate that the enhanced heat exchanger operate a smaller velocity, because if you reduce the pumping power, the flow velocity of the fluid is going to be reduced. This will require increased frontal surface area to provide higher surface area, which increase the Q, because if you increase the frontal surface area, it will increase the value of A. So from the HA delta T, it will increase the overall heat transfer rate. So this is the basic introduction of the compact heat exchanger. What are the compact heat exchanger, where it is used? So when you attached extra surface, or we can say that the augmented surface or fin to any surface, it will add some thermal resistance. We have learned the equation for the additional thermal resistance and what is the effect, how we can enhance the heat transfer rate by attaching some extra surface. So this is the introduction. In our next lecture, we are going to study the pressure drop in a compact heat exchanger and heat transfer rate in a compact heat exchanger. Then we will solve some numerical based on compact heat exchanger. So that's it for today's lecture. Thank you so much.